Hello friends, I'm Charting Man Dan with the Chart Guys. I've been trading the last 14 plus years. We've got some questions, getting some answers to start this week. It's a big week with fundamentals and the FOMC coming up. And we are looking at some potential bear flags on the table, but most importantly, some very clear resistance levels that will tell us if they are bear flags or not. Let's look at what those levels are. So one of the questions we had coming into this week, which we got the answer to, was when we know there's rotation going on, right? Out of the NASDAQ, out of semiconductors into IWM. But we wanted to know the next time the NASDAQ bounces on the daily, does that mean IWM is inverse and pulls back? And today showed us, yes, the answer to that question. We still have potential daily bear flags to be watching. We'll look at resistance in just a moment. But again, FOMC Wednesday is going to see significant impact in the markets. And then we got big earnings. We got Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, bunch of the crypto stocks. AMD has earnings. So obviously going to be looking at a lot of reactions there as well. So the clear resistance, and here's a good example of why I toggle between futures charts and the ETFs charts, because you look at, well, it's the same on both here, but the S&P 500 futures chart, we broke the high of Friday and we pretty much double topped at the high of Thursday. And if you look at SPY, it's a little bit different. SPY failed the high of Friday by 14 pennies. So a little bit less of a fake out there, but it's a very clear tight range. SPY is on its second, 2 daily inside bars in a row. What does that tell us? We know tomorrow is going to be more volatile, very likely. Because the FOMC is Wednesday, we could stay tight through tomorrow, but I doubt it because of how tight that is. But again, it's just a very clear resistance line. And we started today and was able to say if we do not break the high of Thursday, that is the line in the sand level to be watching. And you can see there's the high of Thursday. Friday, we failed to break it. Friday after hours, we failed to break it. Monday, first thing, double top. And then at the end of the day, rejection. And after that many rejections, was able to grab a clear top fishing play in the afternoon. Made a post here saying, here's our clear top fishing level for those that want to be aggressive, bears going off resistance or hedging. If you got long swing positions, here's your spot to hedge. Stick your stop over the high of Thursday. And so I did that, exited half the position on the pullback, and now I've got a break-even stop on some added protection over the high of Thursday. So we'll see if that stops me out or not, but just nice and easy protection. Very clear resistance. NASDAQ, same deal on the hourly. So again, just looking at futures, I've got a new mouse in the mail because my wheel is broken for my Zoom here, but we've got the high of today. And then the high of the other few days, high of Thursday. So if we do not break this level in any convincing way, it's a bear flag. That's a simple statement. The only way the bulls in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ negate a bear flag is breaking that resistance and turning it into support. So very clear level to be watching, very clear line in the sand that the bears are defending. SMH, potential daily bear flag. Today, SMH was weaker than the NASDAQ. It was a lead bear. And again, you want to compare to the previous bear flags. Just, there's nothing different from these bounces right now to the last time we had these daily bear flags. And so the question is, are we doing another one for another leg down? SMH, same deal, potential bear flag again. We broke the low of Friday today, certainly different than SPY and QQQ. So again, just weaker. And if we do see another leg down, we will then be getting towards daily oversold conditions, looking for monthly higher lows. And if you remember, the last videos we were making with that same setup was the time to go long. Beautiful bounces off those lows. That's where Jungle Funk Joey got a NVDA position that went 80% or something like that. But question is, do we get another leg down or not? Tesla lead bull today into the gap fill. We know a weekly higher low is the most likely scenario, but the bulls have to confirm a daily uptrend. So what we're looking for is anything under 255.76 to be a daily lower high. Can the bulls shape up a daily uptrend to set that weekly higher low? Lead bull this morning, nice 15-minute higher low, double top, nice trades in both directions. Watch that 226 level as support now. Very clear resistance, and bulls definitely want to hold that on any back test as support. Healthcare also tight. Second daily inside bar in a row, hovering just under all-time highs. So expecting a break there in the near term. Burden on bears as we are in a daily, weekly, monthly uptrend and upcoming right off those all-time highs from last Thursday. The financial sector, daily inside bar. There were a lot of double tops first thing this morning, and that's nice and easy for a bear to have a low-risk trade. Double tops IWM, SPY, QQQ, NVDA has a wall of resistance. Let's check that wall real quick on NVDA. It's in the 116s. Look at all these rejections. We bounced off the 111 support nicely today, but closed on it. So the bears still have the advantage there. But again, just crystal clear levels with multiple touches. Failed resistance today by pennies, 6 pennies, 20 pennies, whatever. But there were double tops all over the place, including IWM. But XLF, daily inside bar. If that breaks bear, the bulls must hold 42.58 for a daily high or low to try and get back towards that all-time high. And IWM, again, double top. Started the morning just fine for the bulls, but we double topped at the high of Friday, failed to break it, or we broke it by 3 pennies, but that's a double top, and then hit a new low of the day, and that set the tone for being a lead bear sector on a day from that point forward. And so again, IWM down, QQQ up, and watching that relationship very closely. As I've mentioned, we know IWM took off on the CPI reaction from mid-July. And when that happened, on that CPI reaction, we saw a very clear strengthening of an inverse relationship. And again, I'm just grouping together gold and silver, IWM, and Bitcoin inverse to the dollar. There have been plenty of periods where these names are very clearly inverse to the dollar, but those correlations come and go. They strengthen and weaken, and the CPI reaction strengthened that inverse correlation. And so the dollar today confirmed a daily inverse head and shoulders and had a solid green day. It's not a coincidence that the metals dumped, recovered a bit, but Bitcoin dumped and IWM dumped, while the dollar confirmed its daily inverse head and shoulders. So we're going to continue keeping an eye on the dollar, and we'll get back to it in just a second. Crypto stocks were lead bears today. Gap up open, bearish engulfing candle. When you got Bitcoin and IWM dropping together, that magnifies the move down. So coin, little daily head and shoulders here. Earnings are later this week. Our bears are going to confirm that head and shoulders. MARA, daily lower highs set, bearish engulfing, bear flag possible, and CLSK as well. And these names are going to head down to their weekly supports if Bitcoin begins weekly consolidation, which is definitely on the table. And we're watching this Bitcoin potential daily rising wedge. So bears are watching very closely if Bitcoin sees this weekly lower high form, knowing those crypto stocks are not as positioned as well as Bitcoin, and they're much closer towards their weekly supports. So dollar inverse head and shoulders confirmed. We go to the weekly. We know weekly is the most likely scenario. If you are a bull, crypto, metals, or IWM, you want this to be a weekly bear flag for another leg down. You want to fail these EMAs and have them cross bearish on that bear flag confirming. So got to be watching closely, and obviously the FOMC reaction is going to play a big part in whether that's a weekly bear flag or not for the dollar. Silver had a daily bear flag confirmed today, but a nice buy of the dip. No follow through, but very clear resistance. If we can't break the bounce high, bulls aren't going anywhere. I'm keeping an eye out for the potential of daily oversold to mark a monthly high or low. Again, that's what happened in big tech, many names. That's what happened in semiconductors months ago. And so watching for that same possible setup, if we're going to shape up a monthly high or low in silver, does it come from daily oversold conditions? Gold still holding on much better than silver. 12-hour trend change is trying to shape up there, but it is still a possible weekly rising wedge we're going to keep an eye on. All depends on the dollar. Oil, weekly. Again, when you don't establish supports on the way up and you V-shape bounce, it's much easier to see significant retracement of that move. QQQ did it today off that low. Very impressive V-shaped bounce. Look at the 5-minute here. But easy to see 50% retracement when there's no supports established on the way up. And so oil did that same thing. We knew weekly consolidation was inevitable. Now we have 50% plus retracement on that weekly consolidation. And that's creating the equilibrium. So again, we're watching for a weekly higher low still, but oil volatility is coming here in Q3 2024. Well, I guess we could keep tightening. Another red week, then bounce for another few weeks. Probably not. But anyways, you get the idea. We're tightening up. That break is going to come eventually. I don't watch natural gas anymore. It's all bears. Weekly stair-step drop the last couple of months. Fresh lows, daily downtrend. Just a very bearish chart still. Nothing changing as long as we're not confirming a weekly uptrend. So that's where we stand heading into the FOMC. We'll see how SPY breaks this tight range tomorrow, but overall it's going to be the FOMC that confirms daily bear flags or not in many places. And again, watching the relationship between the NASDAQ and IWM, definitely money shifting around, not necessarily a bunch of money leaving, not necessarily a bunch of money coming in. It's just rotating around, and we're watching where it is going. I definitely have a bull lean in my accounts. That's why I was grabbing some protection today with the very clear resistance level to top fish against. But doing well. I'm proud of how I'm trading my very long leaning IRA through this pullback. It's not sitting up near the all-time high, but all of my accounts are by hedging and protecting and day trading around in one account and letting the swings play out in the other account. We'll see if IWM is able to keep the daily higher lows going. Again, if we lose the daily higher lows in IWM, I back off as an aggressive bull. So I got this plant growing up over my railings. It looks bad. I should probably cut it. What am I doing? But then what about this entire ecosystem on every strand that is just a colony of ants milking their aphids day in, day out? Who am I to mess that up? Hope you're well and do good things.